All right. Hello, everyone. Good to be here with you all. Welcome. How are y'all doing today? Everybody hanging in there, doing well? All right. Give me just 1 second to get all set up. All right. Well, it's good to be here with you all. I always look forward to our time together. All right. There we go. All right. Well, welcome. Today I'm going to be looking at politics, current events on my solo show. As always, please do me a solid. Please hit that thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Really appreciate all of the support. Just a couple of housekeeping before we get started. I do have a Reiki class this weekend that I have to get prepared for. So depending on how I feel Thursday night, will depend on if Mel and I do a show. I'll post it on my community board if we do a show on Thursday. If not, hopefully next week we can get together. But looking forward to meeting some of my new Reiki students. Always really exciting. For my members, a reminder, next Monday, which is, let's see the date, the 25th, we'll be doing our next Members Live at 7 p.m. Eastern. This will be our mini personal readings, and I'll also have the members monthly giveaway for the month of August for free reading or Reiki session if anybody's interested in that. I have a link to join the membership in the description box. We get together twice a month to do some mini personal readings. We do a giveaway, and then we also have a live show where we do a group Reiki healing and prayer circle. So if anybody's interested in that, like I said, in the description box is a link if you want to become a member. Ness and I will be doing a show next week. Our September forecast for astrology and my psychic intuitive forecast for the month of September. I've been enjoying working with her. If you didn't catch it yesterday, I was on Lori the Ways of Positive Changes channel. Got a lot of good questions there, so go check it out. Check out Lori's channel, The Way of Positive Change, if you haven't already. And I think that's about it. I do have openings for readings, Reiki sessions. I have a combination of both for the month of September. If anybody's interested, you can go on my website, kevinlovingvibrations.com. Check out all my offerings. I'll be in October and November, I have 2 Holy Fire Level 1 and 2 classes that I'm offering. One of them is already halfway sold. So a couple spots in the one class and full opening on the other class. The dates for the classes are October 25th and November 15th for the one class. And then the other class I'm offering is October 26th and November 16th. So we have those 2 weekends I'm offering 2 classes. They're all-day classes through Zoom from 10 a.m. Eastern to 6:30 p.m. In the evening, so 8.5 hours. So yeah, it's very in-depth, a lot of time for lecture. I love the group community discussions that we have, and then also time for practice. The level 1 class, we focus more on the foundations of Reiki and, the history and self-Reiki, giving our self-Reiki treatments. And then the level 2 class, we learn the 3 symbols, which is a lot of fun. So we can tailor the Reiki energy. And we focus a little bit more on treating others, people, animals. We can send Reiki to just about anything. So if you're interested in that, check out my website. I have more information about what I go over in the class and what to expect. And you can always email me, kevinlovingvibrations@gmail.com, or do have a contact post on my website as well. You can send me an email that way. All right. Oh, thank you all so much for being here. I have almost 400 watching. All right, let's get some questions started. I will be kind of looking back and forth because I did put a post on the community board and got some questions on that. All right. Oh, thank you, Teresa. Yeah, it's a wonderful time if you've been thinking about taking a Reiki class, or you want to work on your own healing and intuitive and spiritual development. Reiki can be very beneficial at supporting you on that. I will say, a couple weeks ago I took a master level Holy Fire master level class, um, just to kind of review it. I'm starting to structure my class, and hopefully I'll be offering Holy Fire master level training later on this year. But I'm still integrating the energy from a few weeks ago. Um, and it was deeply transformational. So if you feel like you want to connect to your purpose and raise your vibrations, and also, Reiki energy can be very peaceful and calming during these trying times, focusing on your own personal growth and development, consider taking the Reiki class. And I have started to do Reiki shares as well monthly, as a way to continue training for my students, to build a community of light workers, sending love and healing to another, and also just to get a lot of transformational healing energy and guidance in as well. So building a community of light workers as well. It's been a lot of fun. All right. We got lots of questions here. Thank you all. Okay. All right, there we go. I think we're caught up. I do also, before we get started, want to thank you all. I did have to reschedule my show with Susan Lynn. We were going to focus and talk about Holy Fire Reiki and do a healing experience. I'm hopeful that we'll get that rescheduled sometime soon. If not, I'll do a live on my own and talk about it. But like I said, my Holy Fire Master level training that I did end of July has been deeply transformational for me personally, and really helping to align myself to my authentic self and my purpose. And so I've had some time to really reflect on my life and what's serving me, and doing a bit of cleansing and decluttering of things that I feel like is holding me back from my purpose and my own growth. I don't want to get personal into what happened, but I will just say, yeah, Friday was a bit of an emotional period, and I think it's part of this energy integrating, and pushing me forward in a positive direction. So, um, mm, so yes, I think I'm going to embrace whatever positive change is going on. Whatever's for the best, having it push me forward, and just really embrace that. So, but thank you all for all the kind words and support. Anytime I'm going through something, you all sure know how to make me feel better. So, and I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm managing. I don't love getting all personal in my private life, but it's all good. Okay. So let's get started. Thing is, I keep getting questions in here to start. I think I said it last week too. Please just take it easy on me. I know sometimes it doesn't flow the best doing a solo show. I think that there's benefits to it because I love connecting to you, and I can really feel your energy and, um, you know, hear your opinions and your intuitive input on some of the questions too. And I love that. But sometimes it can be a bit hard managing the chat starring questions, and then kind of tapping into that more creative part, intuitive part of my mind too. So it's a bit of juggling. So, all right, so we'll get started. Oh, thank you all. You're all so sweet. So there were some questions that came in from the chat. And actually, I think somebody posted that question, so let me find it here. Let's take a look at Nicole Collier. I believe that is her name. Cheryl wants to know what will happen to her. She spent the night on the Texas floor after refusing police escort. Yeah, they pretty much held her hostage. And I told you, I love that the Texas Democrats stood up and stood in their power to fight back and in a way that they could. You know, they don't have the power to stop the gerrymandering, but by bringing it to national awareness and getting the word out, a lot more people know what's going on in Texas with the gerrymandering. But I did say I did feel some of them being arrested, and so I was picking up on that. And it's interesting that they have police escorts. But let's take a look at her specifically. I feel like she's going to be fine, and good for her for standing her ground. Cindy says, can you send Reiki to Linda G? Yes, I already sent Reiki to Linda when I heard. Thank you, Cindy. And of course, Linda G is in all of our prayers. So I was in contact with her. All right, Nicole Collier. What will happen to her? I love seeing Democrats starting to match fire with fire. It's a wonderful thing to see. Two of Cups. So this is making agreements. It's partnerships. She's standing up for what she believes in. She's a passionate, vocal leader. And actually, the Page of Rods and the Knight of Rods is kind of where I see the Democratic Party going. Very enthusiastic, excellent communicators. You have the Wands, which is that fiery, actionable energy. And there's success here for her. Illumination. So she feels like ultimately this is good for her. Let's see. I love all the empowerment with these rods. And I think that this is going to open possibilities for her in the future. All of this national attention will have her envisioning where she wants to go in politics. You know, you have the most positive card with the sun here too. So don't think it ends there. I see her being okay. Actually, I see her doing very well. You know, even if they were to arrest her or something, they don't have legal standing to really do so. She's going to be okay. And like I said, it's just going to give her that spotlight in the national news. So Mimi says, I want to know if Reiki can be used on furry friends. Absolutely, Mimi. We do cover animal Reiki a little bit. And actually, I've been kind of getting the guidance to take animal Reiki courses. And so that may be something that I offer in the future as well. But you can essentially send Reiki to people, plants, animals, crystals, all living things. And you can also send it with your prayers to manifest. And when we work on raising our vibrations, we're more of a match to attract those wonderful blessings from the universe and attract more positive things into our life too. So it's more than just energy healing, but well, no, she hasn't been kidnapped, but they're essentially holding her hostage. I mean, let's be real. That's what they're doing. But I see her being okay. Okay, where else? Yes, I've been hearing a lot of people saying lately, feel like I'm vibrating, and that light is shining brighter. Like I said, this Holy Fire Reiki is very powerful. So I'm just embracing whatever changes it's bringing in, whatever positive blessings. Okay. Let's see. Somebody asked me, is Bill Barr being truthful when he says he didn't see anything in the Epstein files that would implicate the president? I think he's got some skin and involvement in this as well. I mean, you know, allegedly for entertainment purposes only, he was murdered while Trump was president and Bill Barr was the attorney general. And I do feel like there was some involvement there, allegedly. So he has to tread it a little carefully, so he's not incriminating himself in with that. But I did hear too that Democrats said his testimony to Congress left them with even more questions. So I do feel like some things were brought to the surface there. But let's take a look at Bill Barr, because I haven't read on him in a while. Yeah, there's definitely connections there. I agree, no middle name. I don't believe him and I don't trust him. Like I said, he doesn't want to implicate himself in it. I remember, and I feel like this was even before I started my channel, because my channel is only 4 years old. So I wasn't reading during Trump's first term. On YouTube, I was still reading, but I always got the worst cards for Bill Barr. And the Ten of Swords just came up too. So there's some backstabbing and betrayal going on. As I said, this Epstein thing's going to blow up. Maybe some proof of his involvement. And I think definitely Trump's involvement. But Barr's very much the one, though, that would do just about anything to save himself. So if there were some information that came up about his own personal involvement, you better believe he's going to try to make a deal and flip just as quickly as he can. Interesting. There's a bit of a power grab going on here, back and forth, fighting. He knows some stuff. He absolutely does. He's holding on to the information now. Ooh. There's grief and loss here for Barr. 5 of Cups. He's crossed by the 9 of Swords. He's not sleeping well. He's getting a bit paranoid, anxious. The truth will come out. Lots of momentum building up on this case. About the victims, the children, Page of Wands. And it will lead to a Tower moment in his final outcome. And this is actually in the short-term future. We've been getting the Tower a lot of big things on the horizon about to blow up. And then the Death card, it will be an ending for him. Then he's almost got to go into hiding is what I'm getting. So I would not want to be Bill Barr, or I think a lot of these Republicans. The energy is it's very stressful, explosive. Exactly. How could he not know he was the AG? I agree, Sun City. How is the military reacting to Russian tanks flying an American flag next to theirs? I read on this with Laura yesterday. They are pissed. They are not happy. And this is just a power move from Putin to taunt Trump, to dog walk Trump. And that's all this meeting in Alaska was about. There was nothing really productive with bringing Russia to the table. It was a power grab, a show of power and force. And now I remember last week, and I've been predicting something huge with Putin coming up for August. the last few weeks. I did feel like there was going to be a meeting between him and Trump and a falling out. And when I was reading on the summit in Alaska, I got like the worst cards: the Tower, Judgment, blackmail. I think a lot of things happen behind the scenes that will come to the surface there. I feel like, and even they were saying, what's his press secretary's name? Levitt and Rubio. It looked like the soul was sucked out of both of them. I think Putin threw in Trump's face all of the dirt that he has on him, and it terrified them. Because he's essentially blackmailing him. And why do you think they've had a relationship for decades there? Putin had to give Dumpy his new shock dog collar in Alaska. Right, Mark. Yeah, Rubio looked horrible. Yeah, and if you remember last week when I read on it, I did feel Putin was going to come out with the secrets, and it felt like it was related to Epstein stuff. So them having American flags with their tanks, it's a show of force. It's to taunt Trump and to embarrass him. But I don't feel the military was very happy about that. Yeah, Rubio has looked sold for a while now, absolutely. Yeah, and it is a threat. Ooh, these are big, strong energies. Remember when I had Ness on, we were talking about world conflicts, riots, fiery, explosive, resistant energy, fighting back kind of energy. I just threw some cards here, and the wheel's turning. The cycle is ending. Again, the Tower, I think it's came up every read so far today. The secrets being exposed. Worldwide, this can be world recognition, it being playing on a world front. The Tower going on in the world, shock and awe worldwide. But also with the Wheel of Fortune, it's a cycle ending. It brings in something new. And I think a lot of them are going to be going into hiding with the Hermit here. All right. And I've been feeling something big on the horizon. I do feel what's going on with Russia and Ukraine and all of that being very significant, but there's more stuff coming up too. Everyone, make sure you're taking good care of yourself, grounding your energy, connecting with Mother Earth. It's going to be really important. Breathing, just trying to be present, okay? No, maybe they don't resign yet, Susie, but I'm telling you, there's some big changes coming. You can believe whatever you want to believe, though. I'm going to stay in the hope and have the faith. All right. On this kind of going into this, Pat says, after the fiasco, do you think Caroline Levitt is finally seeing who Trump really is? Absolutely. And I think a lot of other cabinet members are really starting to question, is Trump all there too? I don't think it's just Levitt. What was I saying too about August? Feeling a big health issue coming up, August, September. So he's not doing well. But a lot of the cabinet people starting to really kind of question, is he okay? Is he all there? Elisa Best says, do you have a book on Reiki you can recommend so I could learn a little about it before a class? There's a lot of great books. I mean, it's a beginner level class, so we go over all the foundational stuff. I really like the Art of Psychic Reiki here. It's by Lisa Campion. It's a good Reiki book. I've talked about Reiki. I've been on Susan Lynn's channel talking about Reiki, so you can check older podcasts as well. Or there's a lot of other good content on YouTube. I don't know if I see her resigning, Sarah. We can take a look. Caroline Levitt, is she going to resign? I was feeling Hegseth resigning. It hasn't happened yet. You know, that's always the issue of timing, but I do see that still happening. And was it Dan Bongino? They just brought in somebody else, and I feel like it's to replace him. I see him leaving too. All right, is Caroline Levitt going to resign? She sees him as very imbalanced, kind of like the Mad King here, King of Wands, and very reckless, impulsive. I don't see her resigning. She still celebrates him. For how long, though? Like I said, August and September, even into October, do not feel like they're very good months for Trump and for the MAGA Republicans. I don't see her leaving. Not yet. When Trump goes down, he'll take a lot of them down with him, though. That's what I feel. Yeah, co-assistant HE. Thank you, Tori. I don't remember who that person's name was, but Pat Lee says, do you think Putin may have demanded Trump to give Russia all money and weapons the U.S. gives to Ukraine? No, I don't see that, Pat, and I don't see that happening either. Martha wants to take a look at Marco Rubio. Personal says, what do the EU leaders feel about Trump's decline? They have to notice. Absolutely. It was an embarrassment yesterday. You know, you have him and Trump and Zelensky talking to the press, and he was just whining and having a tantrum about, oh, nobody likes me. Nobody likes me. You know, just having a pity party for himself. It's always about him. And yeah, he's incoherent. I think most of them just came to support Zelensky because they know how incoherent he is, and not a serious person to lead peace negotiations in that. And also, they didn't want him to bully up on Zelensky like he did in the past. So yeah, I don't see the EU leaders really taking him seriously. Yeah, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to call ourselves Americans right now with everything going on and him in there. All right, Marco Rubio. Yeah, he's not doing too well. Four of Swords, he wanting to take a step back, retreat, come up with a new strategy, a new game plan. Four of Swords in the Rider-Waite deck is the Coffin. I don't see his health being an issue, but I think he really wants to distance himself from Trump. Queen of Wands. This Queen of Wands has been coming up a lot lately. And I don't know who she is, but really powerful, fiery woman. It's crossed by I think that there's going to be military conflicts, and being Secretary of State, this can be a card of battle. Yeah, he's really evaluating. I think he knows. He's like, is this all worth it? He's got goals to be president one day. And I think as he starts to think about his legacy, he doesn't want it tainted with Trump. Ace of Pentacles is the final outcome. I mean, the Chariot crossing could be a resignation. I'm not feeling that right now, but I do feel like there's some kind of other offer, or somebody's giving him some money here. But he really wants to kind of take a step back. Yeah, but ultimately, there's a lot of disappointment here. I don't see him resigning, though, but I do feel like there's some big scandals and a lot of stress coming his way. Yeah, too late. Too late, he stinks. Uh-huh. I always felt like after Trump, the oligarchs, the people in charge want Vance so that they can promote their Project 2025 agenda. And they want somebody smart to do that, but they like Trump's base of supporters. But I do also see them looking at Marco Rubio, and who's the governor from Virginia, the Republican one. They're looking at him too. But he was actually smart because he wanted nothing to do with the Trump administration. He wanted this cycle to end so then he can be the hero to shift the party away from the MAGAs. Youngkin, thank you. Yeah, nobody likes fans. No chance fans. Everybody asks me every week, was he murdered? I just talked about this. Yes, Jeffrey Epstein was murdered. He's not still alive. I do not see that. If you feel differently, use your discernment. That's your right. But I do not pick up him being alive. All right. Sorry, but it's like every show, I can't do all the conspiracy theories. I feel like he was taken out. All right. Oh, yeah, I saw that too. Elise Stefanik's got booed big time. Cry Me a River. Yeah. Mike Johnson sent them all home so they didn't have to talk about the Epstein stuff. And yeah, they've been getting booed and having a lot of people coming out to their town halls, the few of them that are brave enough to have them, right? Yeah, I love it though. All right, what else do we want to look at? Rabia says, well, all this talk about rigging an election maps given opening for, oh, by the way, 2024 wasn't clean either. Europe may put something out there too after today's meeting. Oh, are they meeting today? I've always felt information coming out about the interference in the 2024 election. I've always felt that way. I wish I could tell you when, but I wouldn't be surprised if it all comes out here soon. And I even think, what is it, the Rockland County, that case, they come back, I think, end of August, September. So I think we're going to hear more about that. But I was thinking that too. Trump's always talked about it being rigged, and now he's talking about getting rid of vote tabulators and mail-in. I wonder if he wants to get rid of the tabulators because Elon's not his buddy anymore to help them out. And I don't think they were able to manipulate the mail-in votes. If you've watched some of Election Truth Alliance's stuff, and they went over the evidence that they've collected, the data, it didn't really seem to have that interfered look on the mail-in, but the early vote and the same day vote is where it was starting to look really manipulated. So I think it's interesting that it's getting brought up now, because maybe he knows that information's coming out about that and he wants to put doubt out there before that happens. Somebody says just don't answer the question on these questions. I can read a question and get to the question and talk about other stuff in between. Please be respectful and not rude. All right. Well, I'll just talk about rigging election maps given opening for the 24 election interference. They're working hard at it, getting the proof. 8 of Cups. It may come from overseas is what I'm getting here. Governments from overseas releasing stuff. They have the goods here. Ooh, Wheel of Fortune and the Death card. So things are changing here. The cycle is coming and it's going to bring endings. There's been a lot of people in hiding, gathering the information about the past. Yeah, people working together and the world's involved with this, Rabia. So I'm feeling yes. And like I said, I feel like that may be why he's talking about it now, just kind of sow doubt in the elections again. Yeah, let's take a look at this. I do see Texas gerrymandering the maps, rigging the maps. But I see other blue states meeting the moment too. You know, I know a lot of people don't care for Newsom, but I think he's doing a great job at trolling Trump. Fox News is losing it because he's got somebody working for him that's posting on X on all caps and just very childish and not a serious post, just to put a mirror up of this is what the president of the United States is doing, you know, to bring that attention to it. And I love that he's talking about, you know, if they're going to rig the maps, you know, there's so much at stake in our midterm elections. You know, Democrats need to do the same thing. And I always said too, you know, he's going to get a lot of public attention because he is fighting back against Trump, and Trump has been targeting him specifically. So it kind of naturally leads him into a direction of leadership, since he's responding there too. I definitely feel like he'll be a front runner in 2028. I'm not saying he's going to win on the Democratic side. I think if Kamala decides to run, I think it will be between the two of them. And I was saying that years ago. Susan Lynn and I, even before the 2024 elections, were talking about Newsom and Kamala in 2028. So it'd be interesting if that's still the dynamic. All right. But will the Election Rigging Response Act actually get passed? I get a yes. First card out, Ace of Pentacles. People are coming out and voting and supporting this. Queen of Swords. It's often my Kamala card, but it's coming up with a strategy. They've thought really hard about this, direction that they want to go into. Yeah, he's a fiery, I don't know if he's a Leo, King of Wands, but he's a natural born leader. Yes, Three of Cups, there's celebration here. I think the women are going to come out in droves to support this. A lot of the Democratic women. I love how people tell me what's going to happen. Debbie says Kamala is not running for office. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if she does, and I'll just leave it at that. Again, use your discernment. If you disagree, that is fine. Jeez, I feel like I know that the energy is really heavy, but please don't take it out on the messenger, please. All right, I do see the election rigging response going through. Who wins the 2026 midterms? I do feel the Democrats win the House. Senate is going to be much tougher, but I'm feeling pretty encouraged. So. But the Senate, like I said, I've been encouraged. Brown is running in Ohio here. Roy Cooper in North Carolina. I think Maine is going to be good. I think they'll get a good Democrat to run in Maine. So we have some options of flipping some red seats. But I'm not 100% on the Senate just yet. House feels blue to me. Hey, Arthur, good to see you. All right. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Can we look at, well, we were talking about this earlier. They'll try to put Marco Rubio in as vice president or president. Can you look at this? Yeah, I feel like they're eyeing that up too. But to become vice president or president. Terry Mullen says, I feel like the other shoe is about to drop. Anticipation. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I've said when Trump goes, they're going to totally rebrand the Republican Party and really get away. They're going to almost take a step back to the past. Not to say that, well, I think that they are a better party in the past, even though I still wasn't a big fan of Republicans. But yeah, they're going to try to push him to try to shift the party to the past and work on a new coalition for the Republican Party. But I feel like he's tainted in all of this Trump stuff. He's got a very hard journey ahead. Yeah, they do want him though. Yeah, but there's a sense of loss here. 5 of Swords, the Tower, implosion, and then a new cycle for Marco Rubio. I'm not seeing it. But I do agree. I feel like that's who they would want as the VP or the next president when Trump goes down. All right. Oh, I like Jasmine Crockett too, Lisa. Yeah, I do feel the gerrymandering I've said. I feel it will backfire, Pitch Girl, because there's going to be a lot of people voting blue. It's going to be too big to rig, is what I'm feeling. All right. It's not a good question. I'm trying to find it. Innocent Potato. I read on this yesterday too. She says the Democratic Party is too divided. It has been for many, many years. There are too many corporate Democrats, or as I call them, Republican light. They made a huge mistake when they blocked the I'm not sure she finished. Progressive wing of the Democratic Party blocking Senator Bernie Sanders. Sanders is speaking to huge crowds in West Virginia. Absolutely. There's going to be a lot of changes in the Democratic Party. Now, it's not going to happen overnight, but I do see a newer, younger, progressive Democratic Party that's really meeting the moment. But yeah, sure, the Democratic Party has issues too. It feels like the Republican Party implodes, and I do see some divides in the Democratic Party as well. Thank you, Teresa. Each of us can put our positive energy to support the folks we want. The universe spirit is always putting out polls so we can vote for the future we want. Absolutely. You guys are funny. Okay. Also, if you're on the East Coast, I know that this hurricane isn't trajected to actually make landfall, but my guides have been telling me North Carolina, the Carolinas, I was feeling hurricanes, and I don't think it's a direct hit, but I think the outer bands is going to cause some damage. So if you're along the coast, please be safe. And then there's another storm, I think, following Hurricane Aaron that I've got my eye on too for Florida. So, and yeah, I've been saying I don't feel very great about hurricane season. Somebody asks, will DC metro area have snowy, cold winter? I do see this winter being significantly colder, and a good amount of snow. Feels like a very significant, where some other years it's been a milder winters. I feel, I feel a lot of cold and snow, and I do think DC will be affected with that too, Rob. Bryn wants to know, will Europe go to war with Russia? I do feel some kind of, and I've said this before in the past, some kind of NATO response to Russia. Now, does that mean that there's boots on the ground? No. But there's involvement by, sending resources and all of that as well. So in a sense, yes, Europe's already at war with Russia with their support of Ukraine. They're helping out, like, behind the scenes is what I'm getting. Intelligence sharing. Giving support. King of Wands, Zelensky, I feel like. I do feel that there's going to be a response to Putin. You got the devil and the Seven of Swords here. So, like evil deeds doing something bad and strategic, that's going to cause a lot of heartbreak here. So there's involvement there. I'm not getting actual like boots on the ground. I'm getting money, support for all the devastation. Something's going to come out of this though here soon. I mean, it's already been horrible. It's been going on for, what, almost 4 years now. And, you know, they have these summits. Meanwhile, Putin continues to bombard Ukraine. So, and going after you know, innocent civilians. I have no control if how many ads YouTube puts in here, you guys. I do make sure afterwards to go through and make sure that there's not a whole bunch of ads. But I can't control the amount of ads that are going on during a live show. All right. So I think we're going to do 1 or 2 more questions before we wrap up. So Barbara says, I believe Putin's double was at the meeting in Alaska. Very obvious to me. Do you think the real Putin is unalived or sick or something else? I will say when I saw Putin at the summit, that was my first thought too. Is this really Putin? And as you know, I try not to really get into the conspiracy theories, but that thought was the first thing that popped in my head. So I agree with you, Barbara. I am questioning whether that's real Putin. I've said Putin's been sick for a while. I do feel he's still alive, but they use a lot of doubles. You could tell too, because the facial expressions were off. This Putin, his cheeks were really big and it had like a weird smile to him. It did not give Putin energy from what we've seen of him in the past. Yeah, he smiled more than Putin. Yeah, I agree, BJ. And I saw it too. They were in the car together and Putin was plugging his nose up because that smell, it must have been god awful. Yeah, I don't believe that was the real Putin. That was my feeling. Okay. This is a good question, and I've seen it come up a few times. I haven't seen anybody answer it. Carrie wants to know, will Grindr release the names of all of the politicians who use their apps? Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, and he had dimples too. Yep. That smile was off. You guys are funny. You know, normally I'd feel bad for somebody if they had to smell Trump, but, you know, with Putin, he deserves so much worse. So get some karma there for him. That would be suicide for their app. I don't know. I don't see a lot of gay people not using the app because they wanted to out a bunch of Republicans. I think they would applaud that. So, but do they do it? I think that there's a threat there. I'm not necessarily picking up that they announced the name. The Hangman, which is being suspended. They're looking into it. They do know some of the politicians that use the app. They can actually release it though. I don't think that they want to release it though because they don't want all the lawsuits. No, I'm getting a no. Good question though, and it would be nice if they did, but no, I don't see that. But there's already been people talking. They were saying that allegedly Mike Johnson was contacting people, and I could totally see that. He seems like a pervert, if you ask me. There's a lot of skeletons in that closet. Yeah, and Laura Loomer, we've known Lindsey Graham is gay for a while, but she disclosed that in the deposition. I can also say I love Laura Loomer and MTG's war of words with each other. Laura Loomer was saying that MTG had Arby's in her pants. I think that that's hilarious. You know, the thing is, though, is I don't know what reality we're in when even MTG is starting to make sense and kind of stepping away from the MAGA cult a little bit. I saw her on a podcast, and I don't remember what she was talking about, but she was actually kind of somewhat coherent, even though she's crazy. So in the world where MTG is somewhat stable and sane, I don't know. I think a lot of them are scared and they see the writing on the wall. Emma says Mike Johnson is a cross-dresser too. Yeah, I could totally see that. All right, you guys, let's end by just asking Spirit what message and guidance they have for us. Like I said, if I may do a show with Mel on Thursday, if I'm feeling up to it. I have a busy week with my class this weekend, so I'm not sure just yet. I want to read this message in this card that I pulled yesterday on Lori, the Way of Positive Changes card, just because I thought that the message that came through with it is something that I needed to hear, and I think we could all benefit. But yesterday I pulled the card of transformation, and you can see it's the earth and the ascension, and the transformation coming in. But with this message, the message of this card is suffering is optional. You're experiencing an ending. You're feeling a loss as a hole or a void in your life. This empty feeling is a space for something new and better. A new way will reveal itself very soon. Pain is something that happens to all of us, but suffering is a choice. To suffer is to believe thoughts that are not your soul's truth. Justifying, analyzing, and rationalizing will separate you further from your soul's wisdom. From the state, you will blame yourself, another, or an event for feeling angry or sad. Focusing on the suffering will only cement the ideology or belief that created it. In other words, you become what you fight against, and that is so true. Now imagine what you can create by focusing on all the beautiful aspects of your life and what you're good at. Focus on where your life is filled with things that make you smile. Change starts with you, and all of your desires begin with a dream. Where will you place your focus tomorrow morning? And it's so easy to get consumed in this current energy of the anger, of the fear. And those are legitimate feelings, but I don't think it's healthy to allow that energy to consume you and drag you down energetically. You know, we create the reality that we want for ourselves, and that's what we're in control of. So, you know, rather than focusing in on what if Trump does this, the world's going to hell, you know, all of this, focus on those things that bring you joy and that are uplifting for you, those things that make you smile. I think grounding is really important right now, but focusing in on the hope and the joy and those things that uplift us. And when we can sit in that space energetically, we're creating that reality for ourselves in the world too. When we focus in on the fear and the anger and we allow that to consume us, we're just attracting more anger and more things to be fearful. So it's up to you. Suffering is optional. Okay. But I that message just really hit me yesterday and resonated with me. So I wanted to share that with you. Let's start just a couple other cards of anything to be mindful for. Oh, hi, Joan. Good to see you. Yes, everything we manifest begins with a thought. Make our world and vibration positive. And that deck, every time I use it, I always get asked what the name of this oracle deck is. It's called The Secret Language of Light by Denise Jarvie. All right. And I think I got it on Amazon years ago. What have I been telling you all since this year's happened? Observe, but don't absorb. It's important to be present. We all signed up to be here during this time. We are the change makers for the future, and we're going to shift the earth to a much better and better, a bigger and better place, more heart-centered place. But we can't allow this to bring us down energetically. Use it as a motivator to be part of this resistant movement, or figure out ways that you can give back. But if you feel like you're just getting, this is all consuming for you, I would suggest doing those things that you love that can lift you up, just to distract yourself from what's going on. What's the saying for fear? It's false evidence appearing real. We create the fear. We create that illusion. Faithfulness. Stay in the hope and the faith. I commit my mind, heart, and will. I'm devoted to my soul's need. I trust in myself, in God, and the universe. Sit in the hope and faith. Sit in gratitude. But that's a wonderful thing right now to do too. You know, if you're into doing gratitude journals, challenge yourself by writing 2 things that you're grateful for every day, but challenge yourself not to repeat that thing. And you can even do 2-3 times a day. And so then you're in a state of actually looking for the blessings and the things that you're grateful for, you know, whether big or small, but you're in that state consciously. And that can really help to rise above the fear too. It's a time for learning, intelligence, third eye. I think that awareness, that third eye opening up for a lot of people. Take this time to read a book to distract yourself, to shift that perception, that knowledge. You know, if it resonates with you, take a Reiki class with me. I'd love to have you. And I really think anybody can learn Reiki. You know, it doesn't come from us, it's channeled. But I think the world would be so much such a better place if everybody had some Reiki in their life. Work on your intuitive development. All right, can we get a crystal for next week? We have selenite coming in. It's a good time to cleanse. Cleanse the fear, the anger. I think even with the selenite, you know, cleanse your space, shift the energy in the space in your home. You know, it's a wonderful time to go through old things that we don't use anymore, and invite loving light into your space. Selenite. It can bring deep soothing, brings deep soothing related to the earth, can address epilepsy, fever, psoriasis, and skin problems. It forms an angelic protective aura to absorb and create a shield against negative energy. Yes. I love that too. I use selenite wands in my Reiki practice, but I even have a selenite lamp here too, just to kind of keep my space cleansed with positive energy. It can bring balance, impartiality, and neutrality, accesses angelic realms for insight, happiness, joy, power, and lightheartedness, and brings deep inner peace and tranquility. The message is, I'm held in the arms of the angels. I love these messages coming through for us all. It's really just, shifting and cleansing what's no longer serving us, sitting in that hope and faith, raising our vibrations. All right. And Spirit's helping us all with this. They're encouraging us to do so. So we will get through this time, everybody. I always say well, not always, but I often say, the one thing that I can be grateful for Trump and MAGA and everything going on in the world is that it's brought together such a large, wonderful YouTube light worker community. It's really brought us all together to lean on each other to get through this time, and just know us as a community, we're doing a lot with this shifting, and raising our vibrations, of the collective. So we're all doing that good work, but just continue to work on coming together as a community and support one another and raise our vibrations together. All right. We will get through this. All right, everyone. I'm sending you all a lot of love. I will see you all soon. I do agree. I feel like there's some big significant things on the horizon for us. So I will be on soon, and we'll see on top of it all. Okay. All right. Sending you all a lot of love and blessings. You take good care. All right, bye, everyone.